Alright, Gabe, it kind of goes without saying, but I just want to make sure. Don't open that door until round 5, okay?
Yeah, of course.
Alright. What would Call of Duty be without zombies? It's hard to imagine. But what started out as a side mode in the game 14 years ago evolved into a key component of any installment by Treyarch. However, this holy matrimony was not always present in the now famously acclaimed franchise. First appearing in World at War, published by Treyarch, Nazi Zombies was a side mode unlocked after beating the campaign. Just imagine the scene. You, young, stupid you. God, you're pathetic. Look at yourself. Look at this stock photo of a mirror. Anyway, imagine you at, say, 11 years old. You just beat the story for World at War, and what a story it was. One for the books, I'm sure. But just when you think that's all she wrote, there's more. The next thing you know, you're in an empty field with a crashed fighter plane. You can see a figure heading towards you. Is it help? The figure begins to sprint. There are more now. More help. Even if it is the Germans, at least you're not dead, right? No. You'll only wish you were dead. Spawning into a vacant room with only a pistol to defend yourself, you can hear the screams of the undead as they make your way to your position. After a few rounds, you can afford a better gun, and you also spot a wooden door in the corner with help inscribed on it. You open it to find a mysterious box with question marks on it. After spending the last of your hard-earned points on this gamble and investment, a jingle plays. Soon, you are rewarded with a new means to defend yourself. However, this will never be enough to save you forever. There is no end. There is no final goal. There are no winners, but there sure as hell are losers. This is Nazi Zombies. What I've just described to you, ladies and gents, is the very first zombies map in Call of Duty history, Nacht der Toten. This map would lay the groundwork for what was to come, as it quickly drew a crowd. This new Nazi Zombies mode was loved by fans, and they wanted more. Luckily, they wouldn't have to wait long. Treyarch planned DLC for World at War. With each installment came a handful of multiplayer maps and a brand new Zombies experience. Throughout the DLC's launches, new features were added, like power, perks, traps, and Pack-a-Punch. All would become staples of future installments. With a stable community and a plethora of ideas, Treyarch was ready to take the next step. Now, as I'm sure you've noticed, this video isn't called the history of Call of Duty Zombies. There's thousands of those already on YouTube. No, this is about the nostalgia the series brings me, and many others. See, I grew up on zombies. My parents weren't too strict with the media I consumed as a kid, so Call of Duty was a go-to game for me. I was only 3 when World at War dropped in 2008. I remember playing zombies almost every day with my dad. Particularly, we played Verrückt. Of course, being 3, I didn't aid him much in our games together, but we didn't really care. It wasn't about the Easter eggs, the high rounds, the challenges, or anything then. We played to play. Sometimes, when he'd come back from a late night out doing cop things, I'd sneak down to the basement and watch him play. To me, watching him play back then was like watching a professional athlete at work. Don't get me wrong, he was only above average at the game, but to me, he looked like a master. Being exposed to video games at a young age, due to my dad being an aforementioned gamer, I picked them up quickly and was able to keep up with my dad at around 5 or 6. Soon, we were seeing rounds in the 20s, but that fateful round 30 still eluded us. Around this time, Call of Duty Black Ops released, presenting a generous selection of new experiences in the campaign, multiplayer, and best of all, zombies. Black Ops launched with what is now considered one of the best zombies maps, Kino der Toten. However, Little Bill would often be seen playing the DLC 1 map, Ascension. God, Ascension. I could go on and on about this map for hours and hours, and I still couldn't cover everything. This is when I officially fell in love with zombies, with gaming. I remember playing with randoms, playing alone, with friends, but most of all, my dad. This map could hold our attention for hours. Each game we sunk our teeth into and wouldn't let go. We had one goal in mind, round 30. I know it seems small, but to a couple of mediocre players, it was majestic. Keep in mind, despite the new release of Black Ops, we, every now and then, return to World at War just to play some classics. These playthroughs weren't taken as seriously as their Black Ops counterparts, but we aren't trying to do anything miraculous with these games. After all, round 30 would be accomplished on the newer, smoother, more forgiving Black Ops. Right? On a dark, stormy spring night, Little Bill and Big Bill were gearing up for a chill game of World at War Zombies. Doris was chosen, for it was the only map with the legendary Pack-a-Punch machine. That baby sure does pack a punch, let me tell ya. We were not expecting much from this game. World at War is glitchy and unpredictable, and bad luck is often what leads to a game over. This game started normally enough. We got our guns, our perks, opened Pack-a-Punch, and upgraded our weapons. Taking our favorite spot on the catwalk, we let the zombies come to us. Wave after wave fell, and we were in the zone. Eventually, we came out of autopilot, and I looked down. Round 25? Already? We were golden on ammo and perks. Neither of us had even taken a down yet. My dad and I looked at each other, and we knew this was our moment. We came out of chill gaming mode and entered epic gaming mode. It was now or never. The rounds crept by, each one slower after the other. The zombies inched closer to us every round. Reloads now had to be strategically timed in order not to get our faces eaten. Then, tragedy. We ran out of ammo. With no options left, we jumped from the second-story window and onto the pavement below. Sprinting through the hordes, we couldn't defend ourselves and had to shove our way through the zombies. Close call after close call kept us on our toes. But we got separated. I went towards the Thompson on the wall, and he went to the trench gun area. I was able to purchase the Thompson to take down some undead freak bags, yet it was at a greater cost than just 1,200 points. My dad took it down, on the other side of the map nonetheless. There was no way I could reach him in time. I had to finish this round on my own. Luckily, there were only a couple dozen zombies left. My dad spawns in the next round. In a scramble, he loads up on essentials and is ready to go. A close call for sure, and our balls are certainly rattled. But it was nothing we couldn't handle. Taking back our places on the catwalk again, we opened fire on the horde, until eventually, we'd done it. Round 30. The game didn't last much longer than that, however. The game ends only one round later, but it didn't matter. We achieved our goal and were more than happy with ourselves. That night's dinner of pork chops and mashed potatoes tasted better afterward. No one else would know or even care about our success. At the table, we gave each other a slight nod and a smile. One day, I was watching some YouTube, probably Stampy or something, and I saw an ad for the latest Black Ops installment, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. I was so excited for it to be released, and I wouldn't have to wait long. I didn't even have to ask for it for my birthday or Christmas or anything. One day, my dad comes home with a GameStop bag, pulls out Black Ops 2 with the biggest smile on his face. Without exchanging a single word, we rushed down to the basement and popped that bad boy in there. Everything was perfect. The opening, the menus, the music, the visuals. It was a miracle to my little 7-year-old eyes. We knew the first thing we had to play was zombies. We loaded up the first map we saw and were welcomed with new characters? Who are these people? Where's Dempsey, Richthoff, and Nikolai and Takeo? Oh well, it shouldn't matter. A new game was a new game. We were ready to slay some undead freaks. Now, Transit is seen as a bad map. It's annoying, ugly, broken, and tedious. The bus comes and goes as it pleases. The Denzids rip your face apart, and the fog is a burden to run through. However, my dad and I didn't seem bothered in the slightest in the beginning. We were just having fun with our new game, and many YouTube tutorials later, we figured out how to open Pack-a-Punch. This game didn't last much longer though. Some electric freak surprised us, we had no idea what to do. Many more YouTube tutorials later, we found out we had to knife that electric loser, and soon we were able to make it farther, but not that much farther. Soon, we realized Transit's flaws and gave up. We resorted to either town or farm, much smaller, simpler survival maps that suited our style better. Luckily, more zombies content was right around the corner. Nuketown released, and it's alright. A fun time for sure, but a little unpredictable due to the random perks and almost impossible to hide around in the unlimited space. Oh, but it's okay. There's another zombies map to play called Die Rise, and this blows! Holy balls! Never have I played anything so crap that it makes my piss boil from the inside. The layout is terrible. The elevators are so annoying and unnecessary. To traverse through the map, you have to break your legs every time you want to get anywhere. Oh, but it's okay. You can take this elevator to skip it all, which also skips a good majority of the map, which you need to do anything. Oh, and don't get me started on the fall damage. If I'm playing zombies, I don't want to die from fall damage. Usually this would be okay, because PhD Flopper could save you from this, but they didn't put it in the fucking map. It's a damn teaser perk. Safe to say, this map was ditched after a few games. So is that it? All that waiting? All that hype? Just have a mediocre experience? 60 bones down the drain just have a disappointing excuse for a zombies game. But Black Ops 2 wasn't done yet. A few months later, DLC 2 launched, and with it, one of the best zombies experiences to date, Mob of the Dead. Taking place on Alcatraz Island in the 30s, this map was destined to succeed, and succeed it did. Almost immediately, players loved it. The wonder webs, the characters, the bosses, the atmosphere, it provides a good sense of challenge and reward. Fill up the 3 hellhounds in the wall, you get a Hell's Retriever. Want that thing upgraded? Do some extra steps and boom, Hell's Redeemer. You want to upgrade your wonder weapon you got? Get the parts, build it up, and you get yourself the Acid Gat. But that wasn't the most obvious new feature. There was no power switch, so how do you turn on the power? Afterlife, baby. Give yourself a shock and you can unlock a good majority of the map this way. And Pack a Punch, little plan and you can fly to the Golden Gate Bridge, bitch! With this map, Treyarch proved they could still make a quality map for everyone to enjoy. Black Ops 2 isn't just known for its zombies, its multiplayer and campaign are superb. I remember each day before school trying to get a couple team deathmatches in before the bus came. It was truly the first video game I played non-stop. There was always something to do. Hop on multiplayer and live the twilight years of toxic COD lobbies. Play the story again and explore a new branching pathway. As soon as I found out you could save Mason by shooting him in the leg, I immediately replayed it. Yet, while I did play zombies by myself at times, it was often something that I only did with my dad. It was just kind of our thing. There was always a new high round to get to, a new setup to try, a new strategy. That summer, DLC 3 launched, and with it, young Bill's favorite map, Buried. My dad bought it, in his words, as an early birthday present. To this day, it's the most fun I've ever had in a video game. Nothing since has topped it, and I don't think anything else ever will. Buried often gets slack for being too easy, and looking at it now I'd have to agree. Yet, its easy difficulty was perfect at the time. There were so many ways to kill the hordes, guns, traps, and Leroy. The traps were what we had the most fun with. Placing the trample steam on the ledge of the courthouse and watching zombies fly would always have us burst out laughing. In fact, the courthouse was our main area of defense. One would take the stairs leading up to the second floor, and the other would cover our back. It worked well until round 35 or so. Speaking of which, Buried is the first map where we reached round 50, and to think, just a year ago we were excited about 30. That game must have lasted around 6 hours or so, but it was worth every second. It was summer, so of course I didn't care. My dad had to get up early to clock in for his shift at the police department. I really doubt he would have had it any other way though. Origins released later that summer, and at the time, I didn't really like it. I thought it was too hard and I could barely get past round 10. My dad had some better luck online with randoms who knew what they were doing, but it was never one we really played. Replaying it recently, I can enjoy Origins a lot more now. I know how everything works, and building the staffs is muscle memory at this point. However, at this moment in time, it was just Mob and Buried for us, along with all the World at War and Black Ops maps, of course. As the life of Black Ops 2 ended, and the next Call of Duty began releasing trailers, I knew the zombies would be lacking without Treyarch running things. Ghost and Advanced Warfare did very little to interest me, and I was content with the Black Ops games. But then, in early 2015, teasers for the next Black Ops game dropped, and with it, I plan on getting a little upgrade as well. I was dying of anticipation the entire year of 2015. After how much I loved Black Ops 2, I was sure Black Ops 3 would be a great sequel. I was so invested in the game that I refused to watch any gameplay or reviews on YouTube. I didn't want a single thing spoiled. Along with the game, I plan on getting an Xbox One, a brand new console for a brand new game. Of course, being a little kid, I didn't typically buy video games the day released, and I had to wait until Christmas. But it was well worth it. On Christmas morning, there it was, my very own copy of Black Ops 3 and a brand spanking new Xbox One. During Christmas, I go to my grandma's house along with my cousins, and they were there to experience Black Ops 3 with me. I booted up the console and put in the game. After a long ass download, it started. You already know. The first thing I did was get on zombies. I was welcomed with this very different map. New characters and a totally different aesthetic. Shadows of Evil had some squid thing I didn't know how to use, rituals, and this other sci-fi stuff that really put me off at first. It took me like 10 games just to find Jug. I had no idea the perks randomly changed places. I ditched it for now, but wasn't too deterred and looked into making a genuine effort to figure out this map. It took the help of a friend of mine to conquer this map. My friend Carter helped me turn this map into a cakewalk. Pretty soon, we were able to open Pack-a-Punch by round 4 and going for around 40 plus games. After a while, we grew a little bored of the same game over and over again and started making challenges for ourselves. It started out simple enough, stuff like the 2-box challenge or a wall buy challenge. However, we were soon inventing our own challenges. One I remember quite well is the Pen Pineapple Apple Pen challenge. Sounds stupid, I know, but it was early 2016, so just roll with it. The challenge was to only use Jug, Double Tap, Stamina Up, and Widow's Wine, the apple, pineapple, and the pen. In the way of the guns, you could use the 48 Dredge, the Dracon, the LCAR-9, and the KRM. This challenge wasn't actually that hard, as 90% of the guns in Black Ops 3 were more than usable, but it was different than just grabbing the wonder weapons and chilling until we got tired of playing. This was around the time I started to gravitate towards playing with my friends and online gaming rather than playing with my dad. Besides, all the new stuff in Black Ops 3 was a little too complicated for his liking. Even more so, he took on a project car, a 1986 Pontiac Fiero. This had him go from playing Xbox every day to almost not at all. He took nearly an entire year away from video games altogether. I didn't blame the man. He turned that Fiero into a beast. We still had many other ways of spending time together anyway, like Royals games, my own baseball games over the spring and summer. So all in all, it was fine by me. Now, I had the basement all to myself. Naturally, I just had to get all the DLC I could for Black Ops 3. The first one, the Horizon Drac, was an absolute masterpiece. It's probably my most played map, other than Buried in Ascension. Again, Carter and I figured this one out together. We once built all 4 bows in one game. That was pretty cool. Again, we found ourselves doing challenges once we got bored of the base game, and that held our attention for a while. Once DLC 1 had run its course, we waited for DLCs 2 and 3, neither of which were terrible, but Carter didn't buy either one. I resorted to playing them on my own. Garad Krovi is a modern classic. Bringing back the PPSH was some much welcome fan service. Zetsubo no Shima, well, not a bad map, never really interested me. The setup was too tedious, and I never took the time to learn the map. DLC 4, with Zombies map Revelations, was fun, but maybe a little too easy. With a good chunk of wonder weapons from previous installments, along with the modern ones, you could just combine it with some gobblegums and get to whatever round you wanted to. The close of DLC 4, and with it, another installment in the Black Ops series, the next game began to enter the minds of players. What new features would be present? What would be new? What would be kept? However, Black Ops 3 had one more ace up its sleeve. Releasing on May 16, 2017, Zombies Chronicles was a titan of a map pack. With 8 remastered classics, it struck the hearts of many veteran players, such as myself. For a few, this was their first experience with the older maps. This map pack was close to what the former Black Ops games offered, but something was still missing. It just didn't feel quite right. The guns were different, the engine was different, it looked and played incredibly different. Despite this, I ate Chronicles right up. It was exactly what I was looking for at the time, and expanded the life of Black Ops 3 for another few months. But as this period came to a close, it was finally time for Black Ops 4. I was so pleased with Black Ops 3 that I was sure the next game would be just as good, if not even better. I pre-ordered Black Ops 4 and waited for it to launch. I waited months. I was so excited for the next release of my favorite video game series, and I just knew I would play the crap out of it to my heart's content. Finally, launch day came, and after a quick download, it was ready. You had to have known, the first thing I did was hop on Zombies, and there was quite a few options here. Voyage of Despair, 9, and Blood of the Dead. I heard that Voyage of Despair takes place on the Titanic. I used to be a huge Titanic nerd back in elementary school, and had always talked about how I wanted a map to take place on the infamous ship. I quickly got into a game, and everything was different. Not different in a good way. Nothing felt like Zombies. Sure, Black Ops 3 was far, far different from past installments, but it still felt like classic, good old Zombies through and through. Why did this feel so wrong? It wasn't like I didn't like the map I picked. I used to love the Titanic and was excited to explore it. Was it me? Was I getting tired of Zombies? After all these years? Possibly. As I played more and more, I figured it out. It all made so much sense now. It was too much unnecessary change. Black Ops 3 took what made Black Ops 2 so good and expanded on it while adding plenty of new stuff on its own. This, however, didn't take a single step that the previous games had before. It was like a teen that despised his father and acted like he never wanted anything to do with him, but secretly always wanted his approval. It was everything. The uninspiring maps, the new unlikable characters, the god-awful perk system. Oh, the perk system. This has got to be the single worst thing in any Black Ops Zombies game. I can handle a bad map, sure, I can always play another, but a feature you're stuck with through the whole game? Forget it. I don't pick out my perks before the game starts to be stuck with them the whole time. Whose genius idea was that? And these perks, oh sweet lord, these perks. I still have no idea what they do to this day. No jug, double tap, speed cola. This breaks the formula that anyone was used to at this point. This is nothing more than a cash grab on the name and a less than mediocre Zombies experience. With only Black Ops 3 to quench my thirst for Zombies, I soon grew bored, longing for the days of World at War and Black Ops 1 and 2. Then I got this amazing idea. Why long for the days when I could relive them? A few years back, my dad and I sold all of our old 360 games so he could buy a second Xbox One and play GTA with me. So all those games were no longer in my possession. But this itch, I just had to scratch it. I looked up copies of Black Ops 2 on eBay and bought it then and there. Within 3 business days, it was mine. My favorite game was in my grasp once more. I popped it into the Xbox One, and thanks to backwards compatibility, I could easily play it. The memories came flooding back. Riding the bus on Transit, camping in the courthouse on Buried, the Golden Gate Bridge on Mob of the Dead, the tank on Origins. It was all there, just like I remembered it. My dad got the news. He was just as happy as I was and wanted a piece of the action. He was pretty out of his gaming prime at this point after all that time off, but I carried the whole game and more than made up for it. Just as before, Buried was our go-to. On our first game back in over 3 years, made it to round 50. We hadn't skipped a beat. Now, I wanted more. If I could have Black Ops 2, World at War and Black Ops 1 were more than possible. About a month later, I had them. The power of the sun in the palm of my hand. My dad and I were officially back at it, slaying the undead in countless numbers like we did all those years ago. We played a game together maybe once a week or so, mainly on the weekends, as our schedules lined up quite nicely then. It was bliss. It was perfection. I was so happy. It is something I will always cherish. Taking a break from Zombies, Gabe and I were playing some Arsenal on Roblox, and just absolutely destroying the hopes and dreams of these prepubescent losers right before their bedtime. Now, to give a little pretense, my dad had just been hospitalized. Something about his head bothering him all the time and constantly being dizzy. I didn't think much of it, and I certainly wasn't thinking about it now. Just as the game was finishing up, with Gabe being number 1 on the podium of course, my mother called me down for a word. She had to break some news about my dad. Doctors had found a cancerous tumor in his head. It was operable, but risky. The next day we'd be able to see him before the surgery at the hospital. We wouldn't be able to see him again until he got home. and zombies was indefinitely put on hold. Those next few months were tough and slow. Eventually, he was able to come back home, but was now wheelchair bound and lost many motor functions in his left side. It looks like we'd had our last zombies game. Later in the year, the next Call of Duty made by Treyarch was released, Cold War. I was looking forward to this Call of Duty, as it was a return to boots-on-the-ground gameplay and recognizable characters we all grew up loving. It would also be my first Call of Duty on PC, and I could experience it with Gabe. Now this Zombies was a completely different take, but it wasn't terrible like Black Ops 4. It felt like a fresh new experience of what made Zombies so good. The original perk system was back, and everything was easily understandable. Gabe and I played it quite a bit, as well as the multiplayer. With some other friends, we nearly reached around 100, yet fell short due to quitting the game because of boredom. This was a decent Zombies installment, much appreciated by some fans. However, all in all, Cold War was rushed, and a little broken due to being finished earlier than originally planned because of pressure from Activision. This was a step in the right direction for Zombies, but it would never be the same in more ways than one. Not long after, in the spring of 2022, my father passed due to complications with cancer. I was devastated. The man I grew up admiring and wanting to be just like was gone, taken far too soon. Yet I didn't dwell on it much. I quickly adopted the feeling of shit happens. I mean, I was right, but sometimes I still feel guilty about it. Maybe I'd be happy I got over it in due time, or maybe I should have given it more attention and thought. Nevertheless, this was it. We would never get to experience a new Call of Duty together. Never a new high round to get to. Never another late night spent trying over and over to get a new personal record. I know on my channel I don't talk about stuff like this, well, ever, but it seemed like the best time to do so. I don't like mentioning personal issues because it might seem like I'm doing it for attention, and besides, YouTube and Twitch are creative outlets for me that I like to keep light on the emotional side of things. Heck, even with my uploads, it didn't seem like I had just had a loss in the family, with me posting a video just days afterward. During the entire process, it was in the back of my head that I shouldn't be doing this, but I didn't want anyone to worry. I'm sorry it took so long for me to say something, but being a very small creator, I figured no one would know me enough to really care, so I kept it hidden. I think I played it alright. No posting about it was probably for the best. I wanted to wait until the time was right, and this seemed like that opportunity. Call of Duty will probably never be the same. Not just with the stuff mentioned in the previous segment, but in terms of quality and care put into the games. It's been obvious for a while that Activision doesn't care what goes into the next Call of Duty installment. It's all the same. Bland FPS with no gripping story, engaging multiplayer, or fun zombies. In the most recent game, Vanguard, that couldn't be more blatant. There's no other word for it. The zombies mode is awful. It's way worse than Black Ops 4 could ever dream of being. There's just no enjoyment to be had. It isn't even worthy of being in the same category as the other games. I've given up hope on the zombies' redemption at this point. Unless Treyarch can pull something out of their ass, it's done for. The past games were just remasters of previous games anyway. Black Ops 4 relied heavily on the past success, with multiple DLCs being reimagined classics. Cold War, while fun, is still missing what made zombies, well, zombies. Until they can find that tried and true formula, zombies will be relegated to a good memory. Well, maybe, if the developers don't know what a good zombies mode looks like, maybe the fans do. That's it. That's the answer. Custom maps. Recently, Gabe and I purchased Black Ops 3 for our PCs with the intention of downloading custom zombies maps off the Steam Workshop. I have wanted to do this for as long as I can remember. As a kid, I watched this YouTube duo called You Always Win. They would play custom zombies maps on World at War, and it looked like so much fun. I wanted a part of it. Without a PC, however, I never could. But now, that dream has become a reality. Gabe and I download tons of maps and play them. It's great. It's like a never-ending installment of new content. Some maps are simple, for fun, while others feel like they were officially made by developers. It has really kept zombies alive for me, and I can't thank the creators of these maps enough for giving us a new way to play zombies. Custom zombies has given me a new way to keep these games alive. It helps me to better cherish them for longer. Even if Zombies never recovers from this hole of mediocrity it's dug itself into, I'll always remember the better times I had with the series. The late night high rounds, the Call of the Dead Easter egg I completed on stream, building the bows and the staffs, doing challenges, experiencing a new map for the first time. From the first steps of World at War and the juggernaut that is Black Ops 1, to the highest highs and the lowest lows of Black Ops 2, and the depth of Black Ops 3, to the disappointment of Black Ops 4, the slight redemption of Cold War, and finally, the steaming pile of garbage that is Vanguard. Zombies is and will always be a huge part of the gaming community. A huge part of what kind of gamer I am. Heck, a huge part of who I am as a person. Zombies is endlessly replayable, always presenting a new way to experience it. Because of that, I never fear I'll fall out of love with the series. Sometimes, even though I have endless maps to download with Black Ops 3 on my PC, I like to dust off the Xbox, pop in my copy of Black Ops 1, and hop on some Ascension. And when I see that loading screen, the controller vibrates as the lander approaches the ground, and the colors fade to black and white. Despite his passing, I feel as though my dad is right next to me, playing split screen, just like the old days.